It was a bright spring afternoon. The sun hung overhead, and the day I turned 50 felt like a punch I didn't anticipate. I stood in our backyard frying hamburgers. The light was low and golden, promising something more than what I currently had. The grill hissed, smoke and sizzle filling the air. Laughter and chatter circled me like a swarm I wasn't a part of. In honor of my 50th birthday, my wife had organized a lavish celebration. But as I pressed the spatula onto the meat and watched the grease drip into the flames, I couldn't shake the feeling. This wasn't for me. It was for them. The neighbors, the friends, my brother-in-law, always armed with a quip. My children, who barely looked up from their phones. They were all present, enjoying the food I made and the drinks I paid for, while I stood there playing the quiet provider, the excellent host. The man who never complained. She, my wife, was across the yard, holding court with her friends, laughing sharply as always. She'd been planning this party for weeks, texting everyone, getting decorations, fine-tuning the playlist. I'd offered to help. She waved me off. She said she had it under control, that it was her way of taking charge, of making things perfect. And I let her. I paid for the extra chairs, the caterer, the cake, which probably cost more than my old truck. But I didn't mind, at least not at first. It's what you do when you love someone. You carry the weight, so they can shine. But lately, that weight, her shine, had started to dim something in me. Corey, 22, leaned against the fence with his buddies, tossing back beers like he was too grown up to take a picture with his old man. Mia, 19, smiled just like her mom used to. When they were little, they used to run toward me yelling, "Daddy," like I was the center of their universe. Now, I was lucky to get a nod, or a half-hearted thanks when I paid for gas or tuition. I kept telling myself it was just a phase, that they'd grow out of it, that they'd come around. I don't think I believe that anymore. Then came the moment that changed everything. We were all gathered around the picnic table, plates piled high. She stood up smiling, holding something behind her back. "Everyone listen up," she called. The noise died down. Her voice rang out like a bell. And then she pulled it out, a glittering paper crown, the kind you'd see at a child's birthday party. Only this one had bold black markers scrawled across the front, "King of Letdowns and Disappointments." The yard erupted with laughter. Corey slapped the table. Mia covered her mouth, pretending to be shocked. My brother-in-law shouted, "Oh man, that's perfect!" And she, my wife, placed it on my head, still laughing. "It's just a joke, darling. You know we love you." I smiled. Yeah, hilarious. But inside, something broke. Still, I let them take their photos. I let them enjoy their fun. I stood there, flipping burgers, every laugh feeling like a needle, every pat on the back like a shove, pouring drinks, refilling plates. And all the while, the sun sank low behind the trees, the yard turned gold, and slowly, people started to leave. Happy. Birthday. Great party. They called it out like it meant something. I cleaned up alone, collected plates, threw away cans, wiped down tables. The house grew quiet. She was inside, probably scrolling through her phone, uploading photos of the perfect party. The kids were gone. Corey to the bar, Mia upstairs with her earbuds in, and me? I sat on the porch. The crown lay on the table, its glitter smeared across my palms. The night air had turned cold. Above me, stars blinked awake. The house behind me was dark, save for a faint glow in the kitchen. I thought about the past 20 years. Working overtime, fixing leaky sinks, paying bills, driving the kids to band, soccer, recitals, and swallowing every slight, every sigh, every joke at my expense. King of letdowns and disappointments. I smirked. Because yeah, it was a joke. But it was real, too. Not because I'd let them down, but because I'd let them make me invisible. And I smiled through it all. Then I did something I hadn't done in a long time. I picked up my phone. The light was stark against the dark, and my fingers moved almost on their own. I opened a travel app, typed in anywhere, booked a one-way ticket. Tomorrow morning, my heart started to race. I walked inside, took a notepad from the drawer, and scribbled a note. Please don't look for me. I need time. I packed a small bag, left it on the counter, next to a sink full of dishes I wasn't going to wash. Everyone was asleep. I couldn't leave Max behind, so I took my wallet, my old pocket knife, and the dog's leash. I stood in the hallway for a long moment, breathing in the silence, staring at the closed doors of a life I had built. Then I stepped outside. Quiet. No slamming, no speeches. Just me, leaving my life behind. Because I believed that was what love meant. I would overlook every sacrifice and every moment. I wrote about how exposure, not sorrow, was the reason they were caught, rushing to appear respectable now that I wasn't there to keep it together. So I wrote about the Christmas photo and how I'd spent my entire life serving in the background. I filled pages, my pen pressing into the paper until my hand cramped, hoping someone would notice. The words were hazy, but what was really driving me was keen clarity, not fury. I didn't need their excuses. I needed to continue seeing things for what they were, not what I had hoped. It was frigid, like the mountain air. When I returned to the bookstore, Russell was sweeping the front steps with his broom, making a gentle scraping sound. The stone looked up, nodded, and resumed his work. I appreciated that about him. I ascended the stairs to my room. He followed close behind. I sat at the desk without engaging in small talk or trying to fill the void. I opened the laptop once more and took another look at her message. The comments had expanded, more people adding their assumptions. I didn't need to read all of them, so I logged out, closed the screen, and leaned back. The chair creaked beneath me. I considered writing. A response, not to her, not to them, but to myself. To mark in the journal later that I had seen their game and decided not to play. But for now, I let it go. I wasn't prepared to respond. Wasn't ready to return to their world. Russell had let me borrow a worn-out mystery book, so I got up, poured some kibble for Max, and pulled it from the stack. Before life got too loud, I used to read these kinds of stories while sitting by the window, watching the hills grow purple as the sun set. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't waiting for someone to read to me. I dove in, read until the words felt like mine. I was just watching, listening, letting the truth settle like fog and dust after a storm.